everybody, welcome to church. We got about 5 minutes before the service starts, so here are some church-appropriate dance moves you can do whenever the Spirit moves you. So get on up and let's sweat to some scriptures. Or maybe not, or just let's go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure it's on the face. See it on the face. Yeah. Bring it together. Here we go. Let it go. You take the stone, you let it go. You're unhindered by armor. Let that elbow sway. Elbow, 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 elbow. Okay. One of my personal favorites. Resurrection. You gotta get down to get back. Keep working it, guys. Keep working it. You're doing great. I'm doing great. I'm getting a little tired. We gotta stomp hard, stomp hard, stomp hard. You're crushing it, crushing it, crushing it. Okay, good break there, good break. Good job, guys. Here we go, ready? Get that whip going. Scare those tax collectors. Those merchants. Yeah, those merchants. Make sure you look afraid. And this is salt. You look back and salt, salt, salt. Oh boy, I come getting you. You're doing great, everybody. Oh, almost. Okay, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. Here we go. Pull it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Wrestle with God, wrestle with God, wrestle. You gotta wrestle with God and he hits your hip. You'll walk like this for the rest of your life. But that's okay, because you got his blessing. 2 minutes left. No longer. I'm gonna go for the bucket. No! I'm not gonna puke. Okay. Sharp the knife. Ride the horse up the mountain with the knife. Put your boy in the back. Hoist it up! No! Hoist it up! Abraham, no! Hoist it up! Abraham, no! 1 minute 30, guys. We can do this. Okay, this one's important. The meekness is important. All right, 1 minute, guys. We're doing great. Keep it meek, but then watch this. This is not meek. Coming at the end with swords. Swords. Cut down the enemy. Lay them dead. Lay them dead. Lay them dead. Whew. Whew. Yeah, there. You do it. This one's important too. We're sowing the seeds. Here we go. Sowing it. Make sure you hit that fertile ground. Stay away from the grass. Watch your back. No, God's got it for you. Watch your back. No, God's got it for you. I don't know much more I can do this. You're gonna have to take it for me. On the last push. Literally. Sam's here. Working the pillar. Okay, guys, we don't have to start. Let's just start the service.
Hey, so good to see you today on Thursday afternoon, 1 p.m. If you're in the chat room, if you're watching this, let us know you're here. The one and only, the best, Louise Bird is online. Louise, amazing. We've got Alan Cook as well. Good to see you, Alan, on this fairly grey Thursday. Also got Barbara, aka Mother, in the room, which is great. Anthony, hope you and Joanna are doing well. Tanya, come on, the Sturminster Massive clan. Good to see you, Tanya. So good to have you with us today. We're going to have a great time this afternoon. We're just going to be here for the next 40 minutes or so, talking about a really important theme. Really, it's about decluttering your life, shrinking all of your stuff in order to maximize your world. And I think it's going to be a really helpful, practical time together today. We've got Stephen Wood online as well, which is great. By the way, I've heard on the grapevine that Mr. Andy Pink is going to be filming one of those dancing countdowns. And personally, for me, I'm so excited about that prospect. How's everybody doing? If you're homeschooling, shout out to you today. I mean, I'm down in my garden office and I'm leaving Louise in the main block over there. We call it the block because it's kind of like a prison. The main block over there with the little offenders, aka Caleb, Judah, and Zeke. Tanya, does this also give advice on how to reduce my washing? Well, maybe, because actually, maybe Richard's going to talk about emptying your wardrobe out of all those clothes you don't need and all those dresses that you and Dom don't. I say dresses that you and Dom don't need. Obviously, Dom doesn't need the dresses. Awkward. But anyways, it's great. So I'm without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Good to see you today, Chris. Hope you and Dennis are doing well. Without further ado, I'm going to invite Richard into the chat space and we can grill him on how we can best minimalize our stuff. So, Richard, good to have you with us today.
Hey, good to see you, Dom. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I've literally just drunk soup like crazy because I think it's pretty unattractive to do that, isn't it, in a broadcast?
You know, it's only if you take a bowl and literally just down it right. That is proper. And
well, I've got a tissue here.
Oh no.
Just to damp down my nose, and if it gets really bad and it goes haywire, I've got a towel as well, so I can be sure to clean myself.
I mean, it's worrying that you have a towel. What is happening with that soup right now?
Yeah, no, it's all gone. It's all good. But hey, listen, Richard, have you had a COVID test yet?
You know what? I did have a COVID test. This is really surprising. You know, when they were doing the random tests to try and work out who has COVID in the what areas, I got sent one in the post. And so I took a COVID test and it came back negative.
Wow. Okay.
But have you seen how they're doing COVID tests in China?
No.
It's not great.
What are they doing in China?
They're taking a swab and swabbing your bum.
Ooh, is that really necessary?
I don't know. Necessary? But I really feel like the test centers are in for a whole other level of experience now.
Yeah, wow. I guess, you know, that missionary trip to China that we're talking about? I think I'll pass because I don't want to sit in some dark room at the airport being inspected, you know? My gosh. So out of interest then, Richard, what test did you opt for? Did you opt for the Chinese one or the standard UK one?
No, I went for the Chinese one. If you're going to go big, you made like
you're going to move on. And Anthony's saying, that's a bummer. Oh my gosh. Tanya saying, Izzy and Don have them weekly, but not the UK, not the China test. Oh my God.
It's a really long swab though. So that's
just imagine as a Chinese person, right, going to work and trying to suppress a little cough that you've got because you really don't want the test. Like, what are you doing? Nothing.
I'm just trying to picture the employer sitting there and the government saying, okay, we need all employers to start administering tests on the employees. Yeah, we're firing you all. You're all done. You're out.
To be honest, if I was in China, I'd take the voluntary redundancy. That's going with it. Well, you know, I had a kind of unofficial COVID test about 3 weeks ago, and I couldn't get my head around it. Like literally, up your nose, in your mouth. Look, oh, Matt Crab's getting involved. They found COVID in space, and now trying to test Uranus.
Oh, hey. Nice.
Seriously, Matt, we were talking about deep spiritual and theological issues, and then you brought the tone down. Crazy. I kind of had an unofficial test in my back garden, right? And I can't tell you how much I just couldn't do it. I think because of my gag reflex, even trying to put it in my nose, it got about 3 mil up there, and I'm like, and then trying to swab, I didn't even know where my tonsils were. I thought I was swiping my tonsils, and Louise said I was swiping the wrong, like swabbing the wrong stuff.
I mean, if you were up your nose finding your tonsils, you definitely were in the wrong space.
I thought tonsils were the dangly bits in your mouth.
No, tongue bits like aren't your tonsils down in your throat?
Well, I'm really confused. No, I thought it's the dangly bit. Like
it's not in your nose. Tonsils aren't in your nose.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat room can help us. If that isn't the tonsil a bit there, the dangly bit at the back of your throat, what is that then? And what's the purpose of it?
There is a name for that thing. I can't tell you what it is, but there is a name for it.
Well, I'd love to know. And like, as you can see, you've tuned in on a great day today. But as answers coming in to help us fill out that, I saw this video and it kind of made me laugh. This was a guy having a COVID test at a drive-through center. Oh, okay. Tanya's bought the official term. The bits either side.
Oh, your dangly bits.
Okay.
Is that your legs?
I don't know how. Oh, Steve Robinson's got a legit name for it. An uvula.
Uvula, not uvula, uvula. Uvula.
What?
That's right.
Mevula.
Yeah, uvula. No, uvula.
Okay, my mum's suggesting another one, an epiglottis.
I don't even know what that is. Is that a made-up word?
But while those answers are coming in, you got to check this out. Here's a guy who was videoing his own test because he's rubbish at them, and it really made me chuckle. Check this out.
For what purpose?
No.
Okay, open your mouth wide, please. Say stick out your tongue a bit. I haven't done anything yet. Just relax. Stick out your tongue.
Okay.
Not yet.
Just relax.
Just relax.
Relax.
Stick out your tongue. Stick out your tongue. There.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Finish.
One more from the nose.
You must relax.
This one, don't move to that side. I'm afraid this one can break. Okay, just relax. Take a deep breath in and out and relax. Close your eyes. Your hand down. Okay. Come.
Don't move,
Don't move. Your hand down. Put your hand down.
Just relax. Relax, sir. You must relax.
Okay, relax.
Relax.
Not yet. Your hand down. Your hand down. I need to twist it a bit. 2, 3.
Okay, sorry, sir. Sorry.
Finish.
Yeah.
Go home first.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
How good is that? That is blatantly. That is me. That's me at a test center in Upton. That is blatantly. I'd like to see him kind of go. I'd like to see him at customs at an airport in China. That's what I'd like to see. That guy at.
Yeah. Who eat?
Louise is saying that's exactly what. Sorry, I just ate a big chocolate bar. Saying that's exactly what Dom did. Tanya's saying, was there mayonnaise on the swab? I feel you, man. Did you notice how, as soon as we played that ridiculous video, view count just was like people like signing out. What is this junk?
I'm out. I'm done.
This is not why I'm here today. And Jake Parker, in true Jake Parker, says that takes praying for China to a whole new level. And we'll leave that there. Yeah. But it's a good thought. It's a great thought. Okay, Richard, today we're going to talk about, what are we talking about? Throwing away 50% of your stuff. Help us understand the burden of this message and this kind of tips and advice you're going to give us over the course of the next 20, 30 minutes.
So I think that we're in the current series, we're in Just Jesus. It's easy for us to go, there's just spiritual practices we need to do to help us move forward in our faith. Mm-hmm. But I also think there's practical life shifts that we need to do that help create more space in our lives so that we can begin to engage deeper with Jesus. And one of the biggest kind of changes that's happened in my life and the life of my family has been us decluttering, not organizing better, but actually getting rid of stuff. And this difference between organizing and minimizing So Charmaine, my wife, she's proper organized. Like everything has their place. It's a funny story. When we got married, being a good husband, I went and did all the grocery shopping. I came back, I packed the groceries away. I think that was a loving act to do. As a husband, I smashed it out the park. And I had a meeting. It was amazing. And I had a meeting. I went out in the evening. And when I came back, all of the groceries were out on the floor in the kitchen, like everything, tins, you name it, everything. And I was all like, okay, what's happened? Have we been robbed? Has someone stolen it? And in the middle of this chaos was Charmaine looking at me going, you haven't packed the cupboards right. You haven't put the tins in the right way, in the right order, in the right space. So she's a monster at organizing. But all that happens in organizing is we're trying to find better ways to store the more stuff that we've acquired.
Yes.
We're just trying to find ways to be able to put more stuff away. We're actually minimizing is looking at our stuff and going, how do I begin to get rid of all of the stuff that I no longer need so that my space and the environment that I'm in is better, not just for physically as I'm there, but also internally. It just feels better when you're in those places. And so that's really kind of a bit of the stuff we wanted to get into today, is this idea of minimizing the stuff you have to create more space in your life to really maximize everything that not just you're maybe personally wanting to do, but what God wants to do through you as well.
So good, really helpful, really interesting. Okay, so let's get into it. And also, just to say, if you're watching, there's quite a few people watching on various platforms. We'd love to hear your questions because this is a very practical lockdown life. It's not just supposed to be like, deep theological wrestling. It's actually very practical tips to help us just navigate life. Okay, so what is the connection between the stuff you have and your mental health or your sense of self well-being and all that kind of stuff? What's the connection there?
So for me, and I think that there's a whole lot of studies that show this, the environments we find ourselves in have a massive impact on the mental state of our brain. Mm-hmm. You've all felt like if you have kids, you know this to be true. When you walk into your child's room and it is just chaos, you can kind of feel that in yourself. It's not just, wow, the room is in chaos. Internally, you're kind of going, this feels like chaotic, and it puts you into a place internally where actually it's chaotic. Now, for most of us, we spend our lives living in that kind of space. So instead of the spaces we're in being really calm, instead of the spaces we're in being kind of places where we can look at and go, I can find real breath here. I can find solitude here if I need. I can really breathe in these spaces. I think we spend most of our time going, I'm barely fitting into my space. And it's a strange place to be at. In Western world, we have bigger houses with more things in, and yet feel like we're living in smaller spaces than in any other point in human history. The only real difference is we've ended up with a mass amount of stuff, and all of that stuff needs sorting, and all of that stuff needs brain power to be sorted. Yes. And at that point, it begins to deeply affect us. We can't focus on what's important because we're too focused on our stuff. We can't enjoy it. It's interesting. We can't enjoy our environments or our homes because we're spending all of our time trying to clean and dust our homes.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you'll notice it's true. Like if you've got lots of things around, you go, we need to clean. And it's not just something you can do in an hour. It's like, okay, we need to take a day of our lives to dust and vacuum and get everything put back into a place so that we end up looking and going, oh, wow, the space is feeling better. And then within 20 minutes, we're right back to where we were because kids come in, take everything out the cupboards. And it's mostly just because we've organized well, but we haven't actually minimized well. And when you minimize, there is something really refreshing I found about it. You feel like you can breathe more, you can breathe better, but it goes beyond that. I know we were talking a while ago about going to the tip and how liberating it is. Yeah. You go to the tip, but it's not just liberating physically. There's something internally in your mind that you go, oh man, I feel better. I just feel better because my space is better. It's not as cluttered. It's not as full. And there's lots of other practical benefits. But I think overall, especially right now, as people are in lockdown, inside their homes, lots of restrictions about how often you can go out, how far you can go. that actually our spaces have become way more important maybe than they've ever been.
Yeah.
The physical environments that we are having to stay inside of, and actually beginning to minimize and get rid of it. It's a great opportunity because a lot of people have got quite a bit of extra time, you know, take a little photo. Yeah, it is a green plant. Thank you. Very harsh. What's the green plant
Basically
here?
saying, man, you're really teaching me on minimalising when you got that junk in your house.
I know. You got this plant, this fake plant.
I got a little plant up there. Beautiful.
Well, it's all happening. And so we're like, I think that it's a great time to be able to go, you know, take a photo of yourself, stick it up in front of your camera so that your boss thinks you're at work, and begin to declutter your. No, don't do that. But it's a great time to actually take some stock and begin to go, I need to start to get rid of stuff in my house. And I can nearly guarantee you that everybody across Sunny Hill has got stuff that they need to begin to minimize and they'll feel better for it.
Yes. Okay. Brilliant. And I agree. Like, it's a journey we've been on. We've chosen lockdown 3.0. Like, so lockdown 1.0 was a time of construction. So we're building a shed in the garden. Lockdown 3.0 has been like 2 trips a week.
Amazing.
And full cars, emptying the clutter out the loft, sorting stuff. And it's amazing how much lighter it actually makes you feel. Like lighter. So when we dealt with our loft, even though it wasn't visible mess that we were living with in our living room, just dealing with it meant that when we sat downstairs, we knew the attic was all in order. And that's a very cool thought. But here's a great question that's coming into the room, right? And it's one that I actually pitched to you in advance of this. So you can see that, like, I am from this genetic pool right here, okay? It's how do you cope with sentimental attachments? And this is a really serious issue because actually, Mum's gone on to say, I sometimes feel like I'm throwing people and memories away. And it almost sounds ridiculous. I totally relate to it because you know me, Richard. I like a bit of hoarding.
You like a bit of hoarding. You like it.
I like a bit of hoarding. I mean, like what you call kind of unwanted bike out the canal, I think of a rusted plant pot holder or something. How do you, obviously, if minimalizing and decluttering requires you to throw away, how do you know what to throw away?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's something that, especially in the beginning, so about 3 years ago, me and Tremaine started this journey. We wrestled through this a lot. And there were a couple of things that I began to realize. The first is that, like, let's say this cup isn't the person, and this cup isn't actually sentimental. The memory attached to the cup is the sentimental part. And what I began to realize is that the physical object wasn't actually important, because oftentimes we go, it's really sentimental. It's got all this meaning to me, and then you stick it in a cupboard or a drawer, and you don't see it for 5 years.
Yes,
it's the memory attached to this, and so we started a thing where we began to take various things that were sentimental, and we would go, when I have this, is this actually an object I would put out on display? Because if this is a sentimental cup, I want to display it. I want to see it every day. I want to be reminded of the memory attached into it, because it brings me happiness. And I think that that's an important thing. But if not, we ended up taking photos of the objects and getting rid of the objects. Now, we can digitally store photos. And what's been interesting is putting those into a digital photo frame or onto our Amazon Echo, and it will scroll through it. And the object will pop up on a screen. And what I found is I have the same sentimental memory attachment to that object and that person, even though physically that object is no longer taking up space. And it's not like we threw everything away and we have nothing. There are still objects we've kept because we go, these objects we want to put out on display. We see them often. We love them, and it's a memory. And some of it's like really cool stuff, and other of it is as kitsch and cheesy as it can be, but it's stuff that's really important to us. We have a photo frame out in our hallway that's of little Lego pieces, and Charmaine made our family as little Lego pieces. Okay. And it's a ridiculous thing to have. It just takes up little bits of space, and once a week that has to get dusted. But whenever I see it, there's a joy that comes to it. But it's out on the wall. I can see it every day. Like, there it is. So I think that there's a lot of stuff you have to search about it, but actually oftentimes it's It's the memories attached to the object, not the object, that's important. And having it come up on a photo frame or throwing it onto your TV that you could actually see when you're in the room will bring you more joy than knowing this object is stuck in a box under a bed, just gathering dust. And once every 5 years, you pull it out and you think, oh, wow, that's ooh, remember those memories. When actually a photo, it's a simple solution, but we found that a lot of a lot of our decluttering in that sentimentality kind of aspect, we've been able to really get rid of a lot of stuff, but still hold the memory.
That's really great thought. Like even creating an album on your phone or whatever called Sentimental and just snapping stuff in there. Like it's a conversation that me and Louise had when we were tidying out the loft and the garage, because I think this would be true for my mom as well. I can find a way to attach sentimentally to every single item in my household. So whether it be like this pencil case that I've just dropped everything out of, you know, a wetsuit pencil case I bought for Morelands, I can now think, oh, Morelands, the Morelands place where I met Louise, the Morelands, the place where I studied the Bible, and more, you know, all this kind of stuff. And what I do as I'm looking at it is I'm processing it through the lens of, I can't possibly say goodbye to that. And so one of the decisions we made was like, maybe not totally consciously, was this: if there's no functional value, right? So I still can use it. So all my pens are in it. So that's cool. So now I've recovered a pencil case that was in my loft for like 10 years. So great, okay. Or this was another measure I applied, is that if my dad made it for me, I just wasn't ready to throw it away. And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to just make those decisions. What's not okay is to not make a decision and then just to keep it for keepsake, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend that anybody set out and go, cool, I'm going to declutter and just throw everything away.
Yeah.
I made that mistake in the beginning, and I ended up paying for that dearly further down the line.
What,
so
because of your wife?
Yeah, well,
your
because of my wife, because I realized that I threw away some things that I now had to rebuy, and that was going to be pretty expensive. So that wasn't massive. There were a few things that ended up happening that I look back and I think probably should have gone slower there, but it was interesting lessons. And one of the things that I think is really interesting, and it'll work well with sentimentality, but actually with anything, is a lot of people recommend us put the stuff in a box. Mm-hmm. Like take a room, declutter, and just put it in a box and put it to the side. Yeah. And for a month, leave that box on the side. And anything you have to go and get out of the box, you know, actually, I need to use that. But anything that you don't, there is a good chance you're never going to use. And as we decluttered rooms, we got rid of so much stuff by doing that, just realizing actually we didn't need that. And we had some rules as well, like anything where we had multiple items from, which one do we really want to keep? And let's get rid of the rest. Because we were finding like 93, knives. Like we're never going to host 93 people in our house. Like it's never going to happen. But there we've just got piles of knives.
You don't have enough friends, do you?
No. So we ended up with one knife, and it was really convenient. That's all we needed. It's really minimized our space right now. Yeah. It's just sitting there.
There's a lot of love for this photo idea, Richard.
Really. You should really. We found that to be great, and there's something nice. Like if that photo is on your phone, you can be just sitting and scrolling through memories, and actually re-enjoying those memories rather than going, it's filling up. Like I remember growing up when you had the old school. I mean, we're going old school now. Where you had the film cameras, so you go on holiday.
You put the cloth over your head.
You put the cloth over there, and you had a reel, and it had 25 photos on it. So I remember going on holiday and thinking, you got 25 photos you can take over a whole holiday. So you only took photos of the things you really needed to take photos of. Yeah. But even to this day, I'll probably still remember those photos more than I remember the 138 photos I took of my kid in the park. Yeah. Because it's like I can't process that. And there's something about just going through intentional photos of sentimental things or just thing, and it sits there. But I think that it's just chuck in, like for us, it was putting things onto a side, and we still do that to this day. We put things out by the doorway, which is this is going to be going somewhere, and if we need to go and get it out, we do. And we go, okay, no, this is still needed, or actually this has got real value for us and we don't want to get rid of it, or after a while, it's out.
So here's a question, and you've given me loads of thoughts now because I've currently chosen to continue to hoard my Master System 2 in my app, right?
Okay.
Because as I was thinking about putting it in the tip, I thought, first of all, my mom and dad bought me that.
Yeah.
But if I applied that logic to everything, I'd have all of my stuff from the age of 0 to 18, right?
Yeah.
But I thought, like, oh, the kids might enjoy playing it. Of course they won't. It's a Master System.
Yeah.
They've got a PS4. Like, what joy can be found in 8-bit pixels, right?
Yeah.
But I think actually taking a picture of it would totally liberate me of that. But here's a great question, and I think it indicates, somewhere where we need advice. Have you thrown anything away which you needed a few days later? So how do you decipher that? How do you know I'm done with this and this isn't something I need to keep hold of just in case this happens and then it's useful, you know?
In the beginning, trial and error. We found a lot of trial and error. Stuff I thought I would never need and realized a month later, actually, I really needed that. But I had made a decision along with Shemaine early on that we would declutter and we would be comfortable with the fact that if we needed to replace something, we would then just replace it, because it's better to have gone, actually, we should never have thrown that one thing away, rather than I've kept 48 things, which I only ever really needed one. What also has become interesting, especially in the last year and a half, is the things we buy now are not just more intentional, but better quality, because we're buying a lot less, but we're actually going. And what I've found is if you have something that is of better quality that you enjoy using, you actually use it so much more and will last you so much longer. And it sounds really counterintuitive, but we've bought fewer things at better quality but saved more money.
Okay.
Because, like, I was speaking about this with Shemaine a while ago, there was a stage when she was just buying jeans because no jeans ever quite fitted properly. You know, like the jeans style, you stick it on and you think, man, it's not really fitting me. And so you buy another pair of jeans. They always just fit great. And when we started decluttering, I think between me and Shemaine, we must have had about 14 pairs of jeans. It's ridiculous. We're never going to wear that many jeans. And we took the decision to spend more, but buy better quality jeans. And it was a big decision because it wasn't just like, we went out and we got really nice jeans that we've both worn for 2.5 years now, never replaced
You mean
them.
one pair that you share?
One pair that we share. Shemaine's has become more stretched out than she would like them to be, but let's not get...
She sleeps in hers like a sleeping bag.
Let's not poke that. And so we had made a decision that we would rather get rid of things and make a mistake and have to replace it than hold on to things on a maybe. But if you take your time, and that's one of the mistakes we made in the beginning, is we should have been slower at throw things into a box and then a couple of weeks later take the box to the tip. Don't go, I'm decluttering, stick everything into a box and go to the tip, because it gives you just a couple of weeks to go, oh, actually, I really did need that, and you can go and get it out the box. But my hunch will be if you do that, you won't get more than maybe 1% of things or 2% of things out that box in reality, because you don't really need it. And that was a hard mental thing to get over, the idea of, I realized quite early on, I was sadder about throwing away mistakes. Like, I spent a lot of money on this and I'm never going to use it, and I'm going to have to get rid of it. And that sucked. Yeah. But we sold a lot of stuff on eBay, and you could use Facebook Marketplace. We donated a lot of stuff to like charity shops or people who needed it. And we're just, here we go, like, have it. And they were like, can we give you money for it? No, just have it. Because if you don't have it, we're getting rid of it. And so it even pushed generosity, and it's great.
You know, Sue Price said something really cool. She said that moving home made her turn stuff out. And I think moving home does that. It forces a moment of reflection on all of your belongings. But for many of it, like, you don't want to move every 2 years just because you want to stay on top of your collection. So one of the things I did this time, because of the stamp duty relaxation in this recent lockdown or whatever it is, you know, it was a review period in March or something. I didn't necessarily have any intention to move, but I was open to the idea, well, maybe now's a good time to move because there's stamp duty exemption. And what I thought was, how embarrassed would I be if friends came over and helped me sort through the stuff in my garage or in my loft or even in my wardrobe, if a friend opened that,
Yeah.
like if Richard came in and started to put this in a box for me or something, how embarrassed would I be by the amount of junk I
Yeah.
have? And so, you know, trying to create thought like moments like that. So even if we have no intention to move, thinking, would I be happy for someone to go in my loft today to collect something?
Yeah.
You know, I think if your answer is no, then it's a sure sign that you need to declutter and organize up, you know?
It's so great. It's the would you be happy with people opening up your cupboards and looking into them? Because for most of us, people will walk into our houses and on the outside go, oh wow, like this is really clean. And then you open up the cupboards and you go, what is happening here? And like that's the whole thing about minimizing and decluttering, is that you reach a point where, you know I'm looking at a cupboard right now and I know what's in that cupboard. There's a printer and there's some printer cartridges in that cupboard and there's paper. And if I need to get it, I know exactly where to go to. And it's not an organizational thing. It's because, well, that's all that's really in that cupboard. But it takes me no headspace then when my kids say, oh, I need to print something, or do we need printer cartridges? I'm not thinking I need to look through 19 like drawers to try and find out if I still actually have this. I know if I do, or I know if I don't, or even now I can visualize everything in my wardrobe. And I find that really liberating, because it means that if I go, I know where it is. It's there. And that's been a long journey, and by no means is like it perfect, but I don't think people would walk into our house and go, wow, you've gotten rid of everything. People will come in and go,
in a moment, Richard, can if you're willing, would you give us a little tour of your living space, not the bedrooms, your lounge and your kitchen, and show us what decluttered living looks like to a man?
Yeah.
Are you happy to do that?
Yeah,
Can I also just, before you do that, Stephen Wood says, Richard, did you throw out your beard trimmer? Right.
Well, sometimes you got to declutter, sometimes you got to maximize. And for those of us who can maximize, Steve, we've maximized.
All I feel like is I should go, Sensei.
Yeah. It's honestly, the problem is it's reaching that point now, and I booked in at the barbers just to get them to shape it, and then obviously we went into lockdown 3.0, and it's I'm waking up and it's probably about this big on my face. I woke up the other day because I had beard in my ear. It wasn't good. It wasn't a great.
In your ear?
I had beard in my ear. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. It was not good at all.
Oh mate.
Okay, cool. Hold on. Let me unpromote.
Oh. Wait there. We've lost your audio. Sorry, mate. Am I ruining your world here?
I'm back.
And by the way, people, I haven't asked Richard for permission in advance of this. So, Richard, if you want to say no, you can. I don't need to feel.
I don't feel much. So we're a family of 5. And we live in a 3-bedroom flat. We moved from a 4-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom.
You went from a 3-floor house.
3-floor house to a 1-floor 3-bed flat, and that was one of the most enjoyable, like liberating things we did. Absolutely, would do it again. And all of it emerged over. We had already decluttered so much before that, and realized we didn't need the space.
Wow.
We were living in a way we had one massive empty room we never ever utilized. So it was like, okay, cool, we need to get rid of it, and everything else kind of came around about that. So our living room is multi-purpose. So we got chairs that hang on the doors. This serves.
That's crazy. What's that for dinner?
And that's like our dining room and dinner. We have a fold-out table, so the table can fold out.
Wow.
That means that, and then that table lives in that little corner over there. So we've got the open floor space, and when we need to put it out, we put it out. And so you can have like as many people as you like. We have very little stuff out on the surfaces. So we could dust our whole house in maybe 40 minutes, dust, vacuum, everything. So it's become really kind of purposeful. I'll jump in here. So this is how we do like everything became, we could have all of our cleaning stuff sitting inside there. And if we needed it, we could kind of go in, see it, kind of pull it out. We got, this was I was talking about. So I got the printer, I got the cartridges there. Kind of, we know where everything is. We can kind of keep keep going. That houses all of our it's the router and stuff is in there that we can go into it. Our kitchen, which is really, really small. So we got a really tiny little kitchen. So we got all of our pots and pans live up above on the top there. This would be all of so for all of us, this is it. Like that, we've got all of that. Like that's all we have. We got rid of our dishwasher, our washing machine and our tumble dryer, and we ended up replacing it with a washer dryer. Now, washer dryer, great idea. The washer dryer we got sucks. Absolutely sucks. Do not buy. I won't say the brand in case we get taken off Facebook, but don't buy that. It is rubbish. Rubbish. I'm not joking to you. I say this with all sincerity. I wish I spent double the money and bought a better washer dryer. But so we have a washer dryer. We got rid of one of the cupboards. Now we got let me just quickly show you how big our kitchen is. So that's it. That's the whole kitchen. Family of 5. And we got rid of one of the cupboards because we could not live without this little bad boy right here, which is a slimline dishwasher. So we could put the slimline and literally wash everything in it. The surface is quite cluttered because Charmaine got flowers from her boss and I didn't know where to put them before today's broadcast, so I shoved them in here.
She said it was from her boss, right? That's what she said. That was a story.
We also, and the thing that's probably the bane of Charmaine's life, but we make use of it every day, so it's out, is this little coffee machine right here. This little bad boy sitting on over there. So it's kind of like this is it, and then you come out and literally we've got our hallway, and that's the hallway. So this is our boys' bedroom, both boys. So they got their beds, and they've got their storage, and we got these beds were really purposeful so that we could pull out workspaces for them to work on and fold them away. So, and all of the cupboard, we also when we bought it, there was nothing in here. Everything was empty. So we purposefully went and bought the cupboarding so it could fit we got them from IKEA, which meant we could design the space to maximize, but also keep it really, really convenient. Here's that little Lego thing I was talking about that Charmaine had done. And what was interesting is we only have, this is all of the pictures we have up, and all of them are like of our family. It's stuff that the photos we looked at and we went, these things we want to keep up here. And so we have a whole wall that we keep adding to as we're going along. Just to keep going up, I would show you into CJ's room, but she's busy with school, so I won't disturb her.
She's a teenage girl. She's a teenage girl. Richard, thank you so much for inviting us into your house.
That's
and
cool.
Us around. Sorry for putting you on the spot there, but
no, that was cool. Doesn't bother me.
I find that really interesting. First of all, because you weren't expecting that, but actually it's really inspirational to see that what you're talking about, you've embodied in many ways. And if we're honest about it, is generally in the West, we've come accustomed to having far more than we need. Most of the world lives in flats, studios, apartments. That's how most of the world does life. And one of the questions I asked to you when you moved to a flat, I was like, dude, what about your garden? But actually you've found it a wonderful thing because it gets you out to the beach, it gets you out to parks.
Yeah. So, and that was the crazy part is what we and Tremaine had done and early doors when we were starting to do this, we started to speak about everything. And I'd really encourage people who are thinking about minimizing, you must talk about why you want to do it. Because getting that idea into your head begins to help you, especially for me and Tremaine, when we started to argue more about should we get rid of stuff or should we do this, it was we could come back to that conversation.
Yeah.
But we just realized we had such a nice house. Like I loved the house we were in. But we had a massive garden, and my kids would kind of go out now and again. We're not heavy. Charmaine likes taking the kids out, so they would still go everywhere else. They would always be down at the beach. So when we started to look around, we were going, what do we want? So we're a 5-minute walk from the beach, which is perfect because I don't like the beach and my family loves the beach. So we can go to the beach, but I can come back, get a coffee, and not have to go for it. Like it's where we've got a park about 2.5-minute walk away from us. And it just made sense because we began to look and go, we're spending every Saturday maintaining a garden that we use very little. Now, I don't have an issue with people who have big houses. I think it's amazing, or have big gardens. It comes down to your own personal rhythm of a family. How do we exist? What do we do? And what do we need to help facilitate that the best that we can? And me and Tremaine got fed up with spending, half a day on the weekends having to clean our stuff. Like, it was like we're missing out. And because obviously with me working for church and Tremaine working full time, we were going, time with the family is premium for us. But we're spending half of the day that we could be spending with the family having to clean. That's crazy. Now, other people will look and go, my rhythm is different. And I'd go, amazing, go with your rhythm because you must. But I think it still drives the conversation of how much excess do we have? And do we need that excess? So and I mean, I'm happy to show everything. It's all everything for us. And it's not that we're now super organized. It's just because you've got these things, you go, cool, this is where this goes, this is where this goes, this is where this goes. There's not a whole lot more to put around. And we still struggle with it. Like, I'm not going to say we smash it out the park. We still have clutter build up and we still get frustrated and go, why we got all this stuff lying around? And we need to get rid of stuff more. And we've just finished going again through, like, toys are the bond of our life. And at the moment, Lego. Like, when is too much Lego? I can't answer this question, but I really feel like we have too much Lego.
I think it's when you can actually build a genuine scale size of one of the things that you've bought to build. If you could build a genuine castle, that's too much.
That's too much Lego. So
kind of creep past the kind of obsessive type into absolute case. But just because we're going to draw this to a close shortly, we'd love to get your questions in. We'd really love to hear your thoughts on that. And there's a lot of love for you, Richard, in the room. Erica's saying, Richard, can you please come and find a home for me?
Oh, COVID. Sorry, Erica.
Sorry, COVID. Well, because surely she can live with you, Richard, because surely you've got space, right?
Yeah, we've got stacks of space. Absolute stacks and stacks of space.
So put your questions into the chat room and we'll be back after this. I told you we'd be back after that, didn't I? And just to say, Richard, I've got your, what's it called? Doppelganger. Here we go. Officially found your doppelganger.
It was a long run, but after all of the shrimp, it needed to happen.
Baba. Okay.
One of the things that was really interesting is the books. So we had stacks of books, and that's it. And so many people battled to get rid of books.
Yeah.
And what was really, really, really interesting for us was, and especially for me, it frustrated me once I put everything digital and I started to go, okay, which books do I really, really want to read and would I reread? And then I got digital versions of those books so we could get rid of them. I wish I'd gone digital right from the beginning.
Yes.
Because I realized I can search a digital book. I can search for the section I want or the content. Yeah. Like so many stuff like that. And so I think for books is one of the sticking points for so many people. Like, do I keep them or do I get rid of them?
Let's get into that, Richard, just quickly as we land this time. Quick fire answers. I'm going to ask you questions coming in, and I want you to give very succinct, very things. So Matt Crab says, did you find your definition of what is and isn't cluttered change when you got used to having less stuff?
Absolutely, it did. So before, lots of things cluttered. Now for me, things that are misplaced, now I begin to view as clutter because they don't need to be.
Okay, great. Stephen's saying this. He says, where's the best place to start minimizing? If you're looking at your house or your stuff, what category should you start with?
Whichever room you live in, 100%. Start with the room that you actually live in, because when you clean that space up, you will feel that it's better, and that will drive you to do the rest of your house.
Great. Okay. Do you miss anything you've gotten rid of?
A couple of books, physical books that I wish I could still hold in my hand. I miss that I've gotten rid of. And outside of that, no, I'm not a whole lot of stuff now that I got rid of. I miss having a separate tumble dryer to a washing machine, without a doubt. But that's because I hate my washer dryer.
So you kind of circumvented your own process of buying quality. You went for cheap and you paid the price for it.
Yeah, and that was a hard lesson.
Big time. Okay. Anthony's saying, when you look at an item, is there a process or category where you put those items in?
So when I look at an item, if it's to throw it away, I ask myself, do I need this? Do I think that this adds any value at all to my life? And if I'm going, I do need it, or I think it does add value, I'll hold on to it. Mm-hmm. Outside of that is we don't try and run. We're not great at doing fixed categories, like going, but what we try and do is group stuff. So we won't just have stationery all over the house. The stationery will be in a specific place. Those things get specific places because it's usable then.
Great. Okay. And Steve Robinson's kind of saying Kindles are great. We got rid of most of our bookcases after getting Kindles, which is cool. Eric is asking a similar question to Louise. Do you miss any of your clutter? Jackie Robes is saying wardrobe. I'm not sure what that relates to.
Wardrobe, absolutely. Okay. I would encourage everyone, take all of your stuff out of your wardrobe, stick it onto your bed so you can actually see how much stuff you have, and then go through item by item and actually ask yourself, will you ever actually wear this? Have you ever worn it? I probably got rid of 3/4 of my wardrobe by doing that. Charmaine we had a bad habit where we were putting things into bags and putting it under the bed. So not only do we have stuff in our wardrobe, we also had clothes under our bed that we would then take out periodically. And we ended up finding that even with the kids stuff, this was crazy. We were buying things that we were storing. We were storing stuff in the loft for the kids when they grew into it and forgot it was there. So we'd go and buy it because they needed it. Yeah. And at that point, it's like, we're out. And if people want an easy place to start, that will make a massive impact on your well-being. And if you own a car, clean out your car. Proper clean it out. I promise you it will change how you feel when you climb in your car. So good. Steve Robinson, CEO of Prama, and lovely member of Fernand Campus, says we're taking, speaking of Prama, books and stuff at our charity shops. All proceeds help a local Christian ministry helping people through COVID. So you've got an invitation there, people, that if you've got any unwanted belongings that still have life in them, to take them to one of the Prama outlets. Steve, if you can just write in the chat where they can do that, where they should take it to, what branch or what store, whether it's any of them, that would be good. I like further up the feed, right? Where is it now? Viv Kane says, speaking to me, I like our shirts you wear, Dom. me and Viv, we're a bit accustomed to sharing blouses. We think it's a good way to save money. Yeah. She stores them in her wardrobe, and every so often I'll bring them out for a bit of a wear, you know. It's awesome. You've been every other African dictator, just pulling from the same pool. Okay, so Jackie Grove's asking where's that shop, and here's a phone number. Steve Robinson saying 01202 207 315. You can get into this practically even today, this evening. Get started, and that's the number for the warehouse on the Nuffield estate. So it's pretty close to, you know, most people of Sunny Hill. And I would encourage people as much as they can when you're decluttering, give your stuff away. Like what you go is excess for you, for somebody else can really help them, and we were finding that a lot. Like give it away. Like, just give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. So good. Okay, so to Landon, Richard, 3, 4, or 5 just big tip sound bites that people can go and put into action right away. Work out the why. That's the biggest thing. I'll go understand why you want to minimize and declutter. Take your time. Don't rush it. Make sure that you're put stuff in a box before you throw it away. Start with just one room. Don't try and declutter your house. Just start with one room. Pick a room and go, we're only going to do that room. And once you've done that room, I think you'll be driven to go, I really want to do my house. If you're married or have a partner, go on the journey with them. Don't just throw their stuff away. Like, you have to talk and thrash it through with them and bring them onto the same page as you. And one of the small things that nobody ever talks about is I ended up, for myself, because I can use music as a trigger to put me into a headspace, I ended up finding a couple of songs that like really I was playing on repeat while I was busy decluttering things. And that's become really helpful now, because if I find myself in a place where I'm going, I need to just get into the house and get stuff going, I can stick that on and it just sticks me straight into the headspace to know what I'm doing and kind of put me right back in there.
What, out of interest, what song is it? Is it I Am the One and Only?
No. Dirty Dancing. Come on.
Dirty
You got to go
Dancing.
down there. Yeah.
Now I
had
the
the
time.
and as I'm throwing stuff, Romaine runs in and I lift her up above my head, and it's a magical time.
Yeah, great. Okay, Richard, thank
Great.
you so much for your time today. And I want to push you. You've literally recently, it's not profiled, you've never promoted it or pushed it, but you actually have created a YouTube channel, haven't you, where you're starting to just store a collection of thoughts and videos.
Absolutely.
To do kind of minimalizing a bit and other stuff, isn't it? Just life, almost like life coaching a little bit.
Yeah, just about minimizing stuff. It's a journey we've been on, like how we've changed our approach to our finances for something really simple that we found has helped us not just get rid of our debt, but begin to save money.
Right.
And it's all part and parcel of the whole thing. And I want to just circle back, because I honestly think that as we're focusing on Jesus, the stuff we have gets in the way of our focus on Jesus. Yeah, like, imagine if you could cut your cleaning time down by half. It could give you an extra hour maybe to spend in prayer, or just to spend reading the Bible, or getting out with your family and enjoying it, or going on a Sunday. I can watch Sunday live because I'm not busy dusting the TV. I'm actually been able to sit and engage into the service. And we found it absolutely, it's changed not just me and Tremaine's life, but our kids' lives, like 100% all the way through that.
I think we should do another lockdown life session in the next 2 weeks on budgeting, finances, saving. Sure. I think that'd be really cool. Something that I'm really keen to. I mean, these areas you teach me so much. So thank you for your input and your investment. What is the name of your?
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll post the link, because you have to reach a certain number of subscribers or video views for you to be able to get a nice URL.
I'm definitely on there. Yeah. I mean, this is just something you've been building up with no intention other than just getting something.
Just putting stuff out and trying to find, partly it's been a project for me because I want to try and find a rhythm and habit in it. And it's something that I've struggled with. And so I'm finding like it's forcing me to try and get a rhythm and habit. But what we'll do is I'll put it into the newsletter, and you'll be able to pick it up in the newsletter. Yeah, because it's like one of those horrendous URLs. Okay, great. Well, people are saying thanks, Richard. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Richard, thank you so much for your time and your hospitality, inviting us into your home and sharing that with us. It's been really cool hanging out. Have a great week, guys. Remember, on Sunday Live, we got Pastor Phil Coleman preaching, which is going to be great. So we're looking forward to that, continuing our Just Jesus series. If you're not in a small group, get into a small group. These things are so key in this season. People are saying, really good. Thank you, Richard. So good. And let me just one more time. If any of you ever feel like you get withdrawals and you're missing Richard, you can just go and watch Forrest Gump, and that will certainly. You know what's really sad is I used to own a Bubba Gump hat. I actually had a Bubba Gump hat. Really? I know, and I wish I had that hat. That's something I wish I still had. What do you ever call Charmaine? Do you ever go, Jenny? Look, I do sometimes, but then I pay a lot of pain for that. Well, you know what? I remember seeing that. I remember seeing the trailer for Forrest Gump where he's doing that when he's running, going, Jenny. And I genuinely thought, brilliant, at last, a film from the Midlands. That's what I thought. Because it sounds like a Midlander. Jenny, what are you doing, Jenny? And I like that you watched Forrest Gump and thought, yep, that's Midlands right there. That's what that's like. That's awesome. My mother-in-law is saying, thank you. I'm off to sort out my wardrobe. If you find any boxes of cash in there, they belong to me. I left them there and I've lost them. So please, if you can send them back, Chris, that'd be really appreciated. But thank you so much, Richard. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Have a fantastic week.